This is yet another book that I have a feeling that, especially with the taste I have now in comic books, I might actually like this one. So let's get into this article from AIPT.com. The Rocketeer, the Island Number One, is a joyous throwback that proves Cliff's Cliff Secord still soars. So this this is an old style comic book, The Rocketeer. I think in the article they say when it was first initially released and the time period that it's set in, but it's older. It's not a superhero comic book. It is a hero's journey style comic book, but it wouldn't be considered a superhero comic book. And it's just fun. I remember, I believe, when did that Rocketeer movie release? Let me see. Cause I want to say I really liked that movie when it came out, but I don't. It's funny. It's one of those movies that I don't really remember much about, other than the fact that I enjoyed the movie. I want to say it was the early 90s. Yeah, The Rocketeer, 1991, family sci-fi. So that's the genre that this would fit into, family sci-fi, which is good. You want some books like this that you can read with your kids, that okay, there's not going to be anything in this book that I could not leave it with my kids and walk out the room and then have to explain something when I get back. I mean, you never know these days, but you would hope this book wouldn't have that anyway. It's that wonderful time of year when we get a brand new, timeless, adrenaline pumping adventure starring the Rocketeer. Part of what makes Cliff Secord such a dashing hero is that he's always chasing the impossible, and the Rocketeer, the Island Number One, wastes no time sending him on a quest worthy of legend. This time, the call to adventure comes with history attached, as Cliff is recruited for a search and rescue mission that may finally uncover the fate of Amelia Earhart. Check out the awesome trailer for the miniseries set in 1938. There's something about these books that are set in an older time. I think something in all of us, well, I'll say something in me at least, yearns for an older time where things were more simple. Now, obviously, we wouldn't have all of the amenities that we have now, and there would be certain people that don't have it as good, obviously, but I believe you know what I mean. There are certain things about older times that we really do yearn for. It was more simple. Life was much easier to figure out, even with all the problems that we had. It was simplified problems. And I think that's what makes things like this set in these time periods do well. Just my humble opinion. Okay, set 1938, the story finds Cliff's hesitant to take on the mission until he learns the expedition leads to the same mysterious island where Betty once disappeared. When the scummy photographer Marco, with the scummy photographer Marco, excuse me, suddenly the job isn't just about history, it's personal. Writer John Layman, working from a never published outline by Dave Stevens, crafts a story that feels unmistakably Rocketeer, romantic, thrilling, fueled by classic pulp adventure. The hook alone is irresistible, but the execution is what truly shines. This kind of goes to show not all books have to be the same. I think when we get to a point in the comic book space, the American comic book space, where we realize not everything has to be a superhero story and not everything has to be flashy. Some stories can be very good art, but more story intense. And then there's some books, some superhero books where it doesn't have to be the most riveting story, but I want to see some fantastic art and some dope splash panels. There needs to be a mix, in my opinion. You need to have a balance of both. You don't need to be all one or all the other. What surprised me most about this opening issue is uh, just how big it lets the imagination run. Cliff's mission quickly expands beyond a simple rescue, introducing unexpected guest characters that honestly blew my mind. These aren't crossovers. These aren't crossovers I ever expected to see, yet they fit so naturally into the story that they feel like they've always belonged. IDW has been on a roll with imaginative team ups. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles immediately comes to mind. And this series continues that trend by embracing the sheer joy of comic book possibility. Joy in comics. I even like the way this art looks. It invokes joy. And there's another article I was looking at. This article is actually from last year talking about this, and I think it's kind of showing off some of the art. This is again that cartoon art style that doesn't always work, but it actually can work in a fun comic book. This actually can work, and you can go through the whole book and enjoy it. I never thought I would look at art like that and believe I could enjoy it, but I actually can. Layman does an excellent job establishing a voice for Cliff that feels authentic to past Rocketeer stories while still welcoming new readers. The world building is especially strong here. That's the thing I like to see because I I personally enjoy world building. I enjoy layered stories that don't necessarily get to action right away. I do love comic books that open and get you right to the action, but again, a balance. Sometimes I want a very layered story that slow walks me to the action, and then once the action starts, boom, it's in your face. As Layman creates a believable history between Cliff and Amelia Earhart that that deepens the emotional stakes of the mission. Add in the looming threat of a G-Man presence, and the issue balances wonder and suspense beautifully. Familiar faces help ground the story, while new characters expand Cliff's world in exciting ways. World building, intriguing characters, and plot twists that you weren't expecting. That's the making of a great story that you'll enjoy reading and come back for more. Artist Jacob Edgar and colorist KJ Díaz make for a perfect 1-2 punch, bringing this era and adventure vividly to life. Edgar's art strikes a wonderful balance between period authenticity and classic comic book dynamism. Again, this is something I discussed on yesterday's video. That dynamism in a book that it does something to you. You look at the images and you feel like you're watching a movie. Nothing is static. Everything is fluid to the eyes, even though it's a static image. That's a wonderful talent for an artist to have. With expressive faces and kinetic action throughout. The Rocketeer is the Rocketeer in flight looks absolutely phenomenal. So much so that one splash feels destined to become a poster or statue. Diaz's colors enhance the warmth and danger of the island setting, while the guest characters are reimagined with confidence and flair. The Rocketeer, the island number one, is a reminder of why this character endures. Adventure, romance, history, and heart, all wrapped in a jetpack. It's bold, imaginative, and unapologetically fun. Don't sleep on this one. Make sure to place your order while with your local comic shop, because Cliff Secord's latest adventure takes off on February 25th, 2025. It's one worth chasing into the clouds. And I like that. This might be out. Check my local comic books shop and see if they're gonna get that in, because this will be something I'll definitely check out. And I like the fact that they emphasize fun. There's a lot of people that have forgotten that comic books can be fun. It doesn't always have to be ultra realistic or ultra serious. That's why there's a lot of comic books I like sometimes that really do have you suspend. I mean, all comic books really have you suspend reality, unless it's just a true crime comic or something like that. When you're dealing with fantastical stories and mysteries and superheroes, look, let's just read these things and have some fun.